Today we're going to make a beef quesadilla, and the way we're going to do it is the way we always do it. We're going to start off with some beef, and we have some ground beef mix already pre-cooked, and we're just going to season it with what you want to season it with. I use a taco seasoning. It's a full blend, and it's got garlic and onion and peppers in it already. And there won't be any specific measurements because I don't do it that way. I do everything by taste generally, so season it to taste is a good way to do it. So I just sprinkle some right into the ground beef mixture. And if you needed to know how much, it's probably about 2 tablespoons. Okay, about there. And we're just gonna mix it up until it's well blended. And then once you're content with that, we can set it aside. If you wanted a little bit more liquid, you could add a little bit of olive oil to it there. It doesn't hurt, and it'll blend nicely. All right, so basically for this, we'll put pepper, green pepper, some onion, and some mushroom, and the beef mixture and cheese. It's a pretty simple dish, and this is how we do it.
Don't forget the sour cream, dude.
You bet. Yeah, we need the sour cream. All right, so we got our green pepper here. We're just gonna cut it. For this, you could do it in strips if you want, or you can do it in cubes. And as far as the onion goes, small, doesn't have to be super fine. Just depends how you like it. With this, we're gonna fry the onions down until they're about just clear and softened. So just cut it how you prefer it. Get your seeds out of there. You don't want seeds in your quesadilla. Keep your fingers out of the way and just slice them down to the size you want them.
Also helps if you have a very sharp knives.
Sharp knives is key. Still got some seeds kicking around here. We'll get rid of those.
Try to get everything in here.
Try and get all your prep work out of the way up advance. It sure makes life a lot easier. Just cut them as thick as you want them. For this, but it's okay. We'll just peppers into a dish. Works perfectly fine. Okay. All right, so the first thing that needs to be done really is we need to just cook down our onions, and we just need to we're trying to achieve a kind of a clear. It'll just take a couple of moments on the in the frying pan. A little bit of butter. Okay. So we'll just get some butter in. And then we'll just let this melt for a moment. And I'm using a medium-high heat right now, closer to medium. You don't have to soften your onions, and you don't have to soften your peppers, but it can increase the flavor, and we generally prefer them softened anyway, so we'll just stick with the way we normally would do it. All right, onions in.
Get you a little extra light.
Yep, light's always good. Like to see what I'm doing sometimes.
Now do it with a blindfold on.
And now we just wait until it fries down. Turn my heat up a little more just to get it started a little bit better. And then I'll reduce the heat a little bit. It doesn't really need to be too high once it gets going. All right, so as the onions are cooking down a little bit, give them a little extra time as they need it. I'm gonna add the mushrooms in. And I'm gonna add the green pepper in. Give it a little stir. Get everybody all mingling together here.
That's also going to help reduce some of the water content out of there too, eh?
It'll simmer it off. Yeah, you bet. Evaporate it off rather. If whatever lid you have, use a lid. Whatever you can do to cover it up for a moment if you want. I won't keep it on the whole time, but just to kind of help get the heat going through some of it a little quicker. Okay, after a moment or two with the lid on, just go ahead and give it a stir, check it. Again, the onions are starting to get transparent, and the mushrooms are starting to soften a little. You can season it a little with salt and pepper and some garlic powder or some garlic itself if you want to use crushed garlic or garlic paste. It doesn't hurt to add a little bit of salt, a little bit of cracked pepper.
That alone's already smelling real good.
Yeah, it's starting to put some good smells in the air. How far you want to cook it down, that's up to you. You can cook it till it goes golden. Turn your heat down a little further and you can caramelize it a little bit if that's what you want to do. For our taste, it's pretty close to there. We'll still have a little bit of crunch in the green peppers there. For the onions and peppers?
Mix.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and pour this into a dish here. And we'll set that aside for the moment here. Okay, we're going to need the frying pan again in a moment, so we're just going to wipe it out and it'll be ready to go in a moment. Okay, once you're ready here to assemble the quesadilla, just get yourself a flour tortilla. You can use whole wheat, you can use this kind, you can use whatever color, flavor you like. This one's just a regular white 10-inch tortilla shell. So basically it's really simple. Just gonna start a little bit of shredded cheese. Whatever you have for type of cheese, you can use cheddar, mozzarella, Monterey, anything you got. just put down a little bit on one half. Spread it out. Come in with your beef mixture. In this instance, beef. It could have been chicken. Today's beef. A light amount. You don't need so much. Just enough to know it's there. All right, and then you can come in with your mixture that we just made, and we can just sprinkle some of that on there too. Try and get some mushrooms. Try and do it as evenly as you can possibly do it. It'll make for a nicer taste. Every bite will have something great in it. All right, and then basically you can just put cheese on this, or a lot of times I'll use a little bit of chopped up spinach on top of this and sprinkle it on, and then some cheese. For this example, we're just going to use a little bit of cheese on here. This is the glue, keeps it together.
I'll eat that right now, bro. I'm starving.
Well, you're the only one that complains about too much cheese, right? So we're going to
keep her going.
Yeah, my wife likes it this way, and so far she hasn't kicked me out, so I just keep doing what I'm good at, right? Just fold it over, squish it down. Really simple. Okay, so we're gonna move over to the pan next. Right, so pan, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go back to a little less than a medium. We'll go closer to a half. We'll go back to where we had the onions and the peppers and the mushrooms cooking at. You can use any oil or basically oil flavoring you like. Technically, you could use butter in here if that's what you prefer. I'm going to use some coconut oil for this. Basically, you just want a scoop of it in here. Get it to stick. Okay, and we're just going to let that melt. And then just as soon as it's melted here, we're going to throw the quesadilla in. And I'm going to put the lid on it to contain some of the heat to help it melt a little on the inside, to warm it on the inside, not just brown the outsides. That's about melty enough. Just bring your quesadilla over. Set it on there. Give it a little squish if you want. Drop some of that heat in there. Let's get it melting through. And just give it about a minute or so, maybe up to 2 minutes, depending on how hot you got your element or how hot your pan is at that moment. If you hear it sizzle when you put it in, you don't want 2 minutes. It's probably too hot if it's sizzling. This is kind of more, it's better if it's slow, it toasts it, and it gives you a nice golden color while still heat in the middle and melting that cheese. It's not as bad as watching paint dry. We're watching cheese melt it. At least we get to eat it in the end. Okay, so we just try and flip it over. You just want to get under it and do your open side facing towards the flipper. Otherwise, if you flip it the other way, all your toppings go away. So we'll try and keep it inside. So we'll just flip it. Okay. We're not trying to establish a nice golden yet. I want to do this twice on both sides. And that way, again, it establishes more heat throughout the entire quesadilla, making it nice and melty.
Getting that glue working good.
Oh yeah. Each time we flip it, the pan's getting hotter, so we're going to need less and less time on each side. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip it again. Again, make sure the opening is facing your spatula. Okay, flip. And let it fry for a moment. Another minute, minute and a half.
I'm 10 feet away and the smell is good.
Yeah, whoever gets first bite of this is gonna be the winner today.
That would be the wife, or you're on the couch.
Yeah, wife or son. I guess whoever gets there first. You could do 2 at a time. Clearly 2 would fit in here. Just for the sake of crowding the pan, I like to just do 1 at a time. It's easier to make sure nothing gets too out of control or burnt. Everything's with cooking is always about timing. It's about prep. It's about cleanliness, keeping your kitchen clean while you're cooking. All of these things make it so much nicer and easier. So now we're starting to get some beautiful golden color on there. That's what we're looking for. And
yum, nice stuff.
The more we can go a little deeper golden than that, and it'll just keep getting crispier. Okay, it gets to a point where it's a little too crispy and you can't back up. So we'll just take our time with this. Overall, when not filming, this is a pretty quick dish to put together. This is probably between chopping vegetables up, having everything ready to go. We're probably 10 minutes in prep and about 5 minutes of cooking, and it's on the plate. So 15 minutes, and you can do a few of these at a time. Well, of course, you got multiple burners. Just depends how coordinated you are. Side two, looking pretty decent. I know I said I'd flip it at least twice, but in this example, I'm just gonna pay close attention, make sure that we get it the right color here. Also, we're getting hungry, so we don't want to have to do this 5 times. Okay, that's getting crispy. It's a nice color. Okay, and we're going to move this over to the counter now. Right. Okay, so we'll just move it to a surface here where we can cut on. We got a few little drifters here. We'll get them.
The color in here is looking really good.
All right, so when it comes to this, you can cut it into 3s if you want. We generally prefer 4s. It's a little bit easier to manage. Okay, slice, slice, and one more time, of course. Okay. Then you can get it to your dish. And there's your finished product. Cheesy quesadilla, crispy, not burnt. Too much sour cream, of course. We're not using that much, but it's just, that's what you'd put. There's some sour cream with some green onion cut up into it. And you can certainly use other stuff. I know my son would use ketchup because he's my son. he's the way he wants to be, and that's good for him.
Pass him the straw.
All right, so the only thing left to do is to take a bite of this, and Josh is gonna try this, and he's gonna let us know what he thinks. You sure that's the piece you want?
That's gonna be the piece.
That's the one with the mushroom on it. The drifter.
I like that one.
It's crispy.
I'll eat this one first.
It's probably a good bite.
Taco seasoning right now. It's awesome. Yeah, it's good crispy bite. Cheesy, beefy, perfect. Fan food favorite. Good. I'm good here.
Okay, bingo. All right, well, thank you for joining us for our video here today. So that's the beef quesadilla. Like I said, you can cook it this way. You can add a few extra things like spinach. You can cook with other vegetables, or you can reduce. You can just have beef and cheese if that's what you really like. Your beef mixture can be spicier with chili or sriracha, or it can just be salt and pepper if that's what you prefer to. There's not really a lot of ways to mess this up other than overcooking the tortilla shell and making it burnt. Otherwise, the rest of it, it's what you want in there.
I'm going back to this.
Oh, he's just going to keep eating. All right, well, while we devour this down, you guys have a great day. Take care.